Now, when it comes to rating players, I feel we all have a different approach of rating them. Like when it comes to, stats or just watching them in general, we all have different ways of rating the players, for example. Now, a week ago, I think I saw people slandering Jorginho for not scoring enough goals and only scoring penalties, even though he has a CDM role, which again does not make sense. So I really thought to myself, how should we actually rate players these days? And I thought of 5 ways that people usually use to rate players these days, and I put them all in this video, and we'll have to go through them right now in this video. And before we get on with that, please, if you're new around here, please subscribe to the channel. We are not far away from 100 subscribers, so I'd like to get there. So yeah, let's get on with the video right now. Now, match ratings, in my opinion, is the worst way of rating a player. I think it's really dumb to some extent. Now, I don't really have a lot to explain for this one, but let me put it in some kind of an example. I'm going to put in perspective is Scott McTominay. Now, the friends that I have or even family know that I do not rate Scott McTominay. He is the worst players I've seen. Okay, maybe that's a bit harsh, but he's a bad player in my opinion. Let's put this into his perspective. Scott McTominay is having a bad season, but of course, in terms of his match rating, he's always getting over 7, which does not make sense since, watching him, he's really terrible. He is honestly terrible, one of the worst I've seen. Honestly terrible. But he always ends up winning man of the match just because he keeps running around and running around. The point is, match ratings are not accurate, and I really do not use this to rate players, so I deny this one. It shouldn't be a way we should be rating players. Now, another metric that I find useless is in-game stats. Now, this one also is kind of similar to the match rating stat, but since its stats is a bit different. Now, again, I could use Scott McTominay as an example, but this is not a slander video, so I'll rather use someone else. Damn, why can't I think of someone else? Well, we'll still use Scott McTominay then. This guy, again, looks bad on TV, but if you can see his in-game stats, it looks impressive. It looks like someone else is possessed him in those match stats. Sometimes it's most tackles, most dribbles blocked, or whatever it is. It's the most useless stats you've seen, and that's why they usually get high match ratings and good in-game stats. So yes, it is to some extent a good way of rating players, but not entirely, because it could be really inaccurate. So I will use this too. Now, number 3, I'll go with trophies. Now, trophies, in my opinion, is a really unfair way to rate players, also including individual trophies. I put both of them in one category because it makes it easier. So like trophies in general would be a bad way of rating players since it's a team effort and not individual. Because if it was a team effort, we would have been saying Anderson is a better player than Steven Gerrard since he has a Premier League title. So I think that really throws away the conversation of trophies, but individual trophies in that matter is also useless to some extent. So I'd say when you're comparing top players, then it works, but like rating a player, for example, would think in terms of trophies also another bad way of rating players. And let's move on now. Now, I think this is one of the more fair ways to actually rate a player. Now, it's goals and assists. Now, I feel this one is a more or less popular one in the football community. For example, automatically, when a player has a lot of GA, they are a good player in terms of their stats. When you watch them on TV, it doesn't really look like they are that kind of player. Another example can be someone who inspired this video and is currently on the thumbnail, Bruno Fernandes. Someone who always gets a lot of GA, but doesn't really look at the player when you see him on the pitch. This one is more or less one of the best ways of rating a player, but not always. Does that make sense? Makes sense. Now, the most fair way that I think we can rate a player. I rate players based on this one right here, the eye test. Now, if I had to explain the eye test, is basically watching the player on TV. Now, seeing how that player performs, moves, does all these things on TV automatically gives you an opinion on the player. Example could be Bernardo Silva from Manchester City, who doesn't really get a lot of GA. When he plays, you can automatically see that this man is important to Manchester City. So it makes sense at some point. But there are 2 ways that people use the eye test. Now, there are the ones who rate the skillers and the ones who rate, the powerhouses. Now, The powerhouses are those ones, that's always running down the pitch, never get tired. The stamina merchants, and the skillers are basically the breezy ones, doing all those skill moves and all those things, like a Bernardo Silva, for example. So those are the two ways of the eye test. So I use the eye test usually, and I feel it's a better way of rating a player, and that's how I base my game on. So yeah, that's what I got right now. So yes, we've made it to the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed this one, and like if you haven't already, and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.